Alright, so in this video we're checking out the EIOTCLUB data SIM card. And for those of you guys who have been following my videos, I've been kind of searching for some of these sort of cheap and sometimes even free either data or phone service plans, and there'll be a playlist down in the video description in case you missed those older videos. I did one on Text Now and another one on Firsty, and I have this one here as well as some other ones coming in the future. So if you're interested in cheap or free phone or data plans for your iPhone or Android phone, then yeah, stay tuned. So this one here is the EIOTCLUB data SIM card, and it comes in a wide variety of versions. You can get them in small data packages, larger data packages. It just kind of depends. And then there's different time limits as well in terms of how long the data will last. The one that I have in particular here is the one that lasts 360 days, so about a year, and it's 24 gigabytes of data, and it costs about $150. So the breakdown is roughly $12.50 per month. So if you kind of want a plan where you're going to pay everything up front and use the data as you see fit over time, this might be a good idea for you. Now, the version that I have is also a triple play card, so that one costs a little bit more, and triple play means it works on 3 different networks. And in this case, it's Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And for, it kind of depends on where you live and what you want to use it for. It could be more optimal to be on Verizon, and where I live, T-Mobile is more optimal. I'm kind of closer to a T-Mobile tower than a Verizon tower, so it kind of depends on where you live. And there's also cards that are just for 2 networks and a single network. So again, you have to check out their store and see which one might be most appropriate for you. If you only care about one network, it's going to be cheaper versus getting the triple play card, which is going to be more expensive. The advantage of getting the triple play card, though, is if you happen to move around a lot and maybe you're a nomad, you can basically contact EIOTCLUB and at their support and have them switch the provider on that particular SIM card to one of the other 3 networks, and it'll switch over and you'll get better reception. Now, these data plans aren't specifically meant for cell phones, so I've been using it on my cell phone here, this Hotwave Note 13 Pro, for about 6 months now, and it has been working okay. There's a few things I'll talk about that are drawbacks, but these are actually intended for what are called IoT devices, or Internet of Things, which could be things, for example, like security cameras, trail cameras, things where you don't have access to Wi-Fi, but you have access to cellular data, and then you put the SIM card into those devices, and then it will send data over the cellular network to wherever you're wanting to send the data to. That's what these cards are intended for, but you can use these for tablets and cell phones as well. Now, I have noticed that I think because of the way the plans are designed for these IoT devices, the speeds aren't particularly that great. So, here's some speed tests I did here. The data starts off kind of slow initially for most of these tests, and then they ramp up to the max, which is like 20 some megabits download, I think around 8 or 9 upload. And I think it has to do with the fact that these are not really designed for cell phones. They're designed for these sort of security cameras that aren't really transmitting like large quantities of data at once. Typically it's photos or low bitrate videos. But for cell phone use, it seems to be fine for me. It does take a little bit, there's a little bit of a sort of a delay in when, for example, if you're, searching for something on the internet, click on something on some other data plans, the response is much quicker. You still get the data. It's just that it seems to be a slight delay in the response in terms of the data coming back. So they do have an app here to keep track of your data usage. And basically, you just sign up for an account, and it shows how much data you've been using as well as the expiration date. And it looks like it's going to expire in June of 2025. It's kind of interesting. I have been using this card on this phone for, as you can see, almost 6 months now. It's 24 gigabytes over 360 days. And I'm not sure why this basically says 23 gigabytes unused. It says I used about 1 gigabyte, but I'm pretty sure I've used more than that. I'm not really sure why it is not updating on here. It should be lower, but like initially I did see it kind of come down at first, but it hasn't been coming down since then. So I'm not 100% sure if this is fully accurate, even though I have refreshed the app. In fact, I've even like deleted the app and reinstalled it, and it still gives me this. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, and I imagine it's probably something to do on the back end where they have somehow lost track of this particular account and is not tracking all the data that I'm using, because I'm definitely using a lot of data. And just a quick example of how the data speed is here. I'm actually off of Wi-Fi. It's actually on, as you can see, LTE. And we'll go ahead and I'll just go to Google News here. Click on that, and on a Wi-Fi connection or like a higher end, like for example, my standard T-Mobile connection, this page will come up like immediately, but there's a slight delay in terms of it coming up. But once it starts loading, it loads up pretty quickly. And again, let's go ahead and click a story here. It goes off to another site. And as you can see here, there's a bit of a delay, and then eventually the page does load. That's something I've noticed about this particular service plan, so I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of it. You may or may not matter to you depending on what your particular use case is. Anyway, so that should cover for this video. I'll put a link down in the video description to this particular SIM card, but if you go to the store link, there should be a lot of other options available to you. And if you're having trouble finding one that might be suitable for you, let me know in the comments, and I'll try and find one that might be better suited for your particular use case. Also, if you happen to know of other cheap or free data and phone plans kind of like this, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and pick those up for a future video so that I can sort of spread the word on some of these alternative solutions to, your typical, $75 to $100 a month phone plan that you're going to get from like a T-Mobile or a Verizon. All right, that's going to do it for this video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.